Um, let's play a little game, shall we? Raise your hand up like this if you've had suya or smoked fish before. So it's fair to say that benefited from food made with the use of charcoal at one point or the other. Please, you can put your hands down now. Thank you. Can charcoal save our future? I grew up in Igodo, in a neighborhood that is almost at the outskirts of Lagos. And it's picture this. 10 years into my 11th year. We wake up 7 a.m. preparing for classes, and our mothers are preparing the charcoal stove for our breakfast. While she does that, we are supposed to go and have our baths in that cold, and something interesting happened during those periods. We start coughing. And at the time, I never really understood why we had to cough, but we knew something for sure. That cough took rotation between us and our neighbors' children. So when it leaves us this week, it goes to them, and then it get right back to us. You see, I grew up in Igodo, in an area where a quarter of Lagos, where the lawma come to dump all the waste of Lagos and the bonnet for it, for the reproduction, for the degradation of it. But something interesting that, looking back now to that period, what I never realized was that somehow it was all that toxic air that caused all the coughs. You see, that same money is when Ogawel that is in my wood will be cutting down trees, is chopping these trees and just waiting around for them all to dry up. Why? Because he's going to use them later to cook and provide food for his family. Something he does outside his job to provide for his family, but is destroying his environment. This didn't just happen in my neighborhood. It happened all over Nigeria. It's still happening all over Nigeria. Currently, we have 80% of our homes still depending on biomass, including charcoal. This product that is a byproduct of cutting down of our trees. It's a byproduct of people being able to just cut down our tree, burn it, and being able to use it as fuel for food. It's something that's now become a critical aspect of my career as an artist. It became a critical medium that I used to start painting. I started using this waste, charcoal, and converting it into a that rethink the way we think about poverty, energy, and sustainability. Now, I can bet you that even though I just mentioned a simple example of the suya and the one of the smoked fish, charcoal is still deeply tied to our daily life. But in case you are going to be in the spirit of losing the bet, that's exactly why I said you should raise up your hand, so now you lost. But this same charcoal is tied to a silent crisis. A silent crisis that, if not curbed, will cost us our future. Cost us more than cough in our future. You see, as at 2005, Nigeria used to have 11 million hectares of forest. In case you don't understand how wide an hectare is, a simple example is a football field. We have the recently built one right here in Ibadan. And so imagine you have 11 million football fields as at 2005. But imagine this, every single year, we are losing almost 400,000 of those hectares of forest every single year. That is literally 1,000 football fields every single day. Every day. That's how much tree we lose in Nigeria every single day. And if we don't curb this issue, it's going to cost us something in our future. If we don't stop this deforestation, it's going to cost us something in our future because trees are important. They clean our air, they control our climate, they provide homes for animals. They are the resources that we use in our home for wood, for furniture, and also our food. Now, if we don't make a reduction or find a balance in this deforestation, sooner or later, lands are become less fertile. Sooner or later, our weather is going to get more extreme, and sooner or later, people will lose their source of living. You see, if we don't stop cutting down our wood, when will we not start importing woods too? We import everything, almost everything. I was going to put on this bead today, and guess what my friends told me? Is it not going to look fetish? It belongs to us. Why has it become or deemed fetish? What's something that has been part of our culture? It was ours, it's ours. But if this bead was a little less red, maybe a little brown, maybe just black to compensate my color, it wouldn't have been considered as such. We keep importing. But we do nothing to protect that which we have. So that's the first silent crisis. The second is according to World Health Organization. 4 million people die annually based on air pollution that are caused within our homes. And guess who suffers the most of this? Our mothers, our kids, and most importantly, us when we were younger. Some of you may have been able to move out of systems or place or states where charcoal was the immediate use of things and you never really knew or felt the effects on your health. But that needs to change. You see, one of the crises, which is the third one I'm going to mention, is that a lot of people still depend on this charcoal to live. I asked the woman I buy charcoal for to make my heart that, yes, ma, she charcoal since starting low gas and have there been less sales? I asked her, have there been less sales since more people are now using gas to cook? She said no. She was very proud to say that it's still the same rate that she sells. She still sells the same quantity, even for more money. But it does not change the fact that it affects her health. The woman has a very, she has wounds in her leg. Her leg is fat. I don't know exactly the disease. I didn't ask her. But some of these things have come from years of being exposed to this thing that was the result of burnt wood. Bad health, bad wealth. And this circle of poverty continues. You see, again, it's a silent crisis. And this has to change. A little bit about my journey to charcoal. This same woman that I was talking about, interestingly, I was walking past a place about 2 years ago, and I looked at all that blackness, and that stark blackness, it sent me back to that 11-old boy, 10-years-old boy. And I remember how I would run to the people that sell the charcoal every single night for my mother ahead of the next morning. And on days that we could not even afford the charcoal, we had, all you needed was 4 blocks, very strong blocks and wood in the middle, and then you're good to go. You see, all of this is nothing compared to what's to come. Because I remember how vividly our gas cylinder, which used to be green, turned to brown out of rust and lack of usage. Why don't we have more people that have access to clean energy? So it hits me. This charcoal is beyond just a waste. The end result of a burnt wood. You see, this charcoal is a metaphor for us to do something before it all gets dark. So I started exploring. I started using charcoal and exploring grounded charcoal to make my heart. I started experimenting it to make large scale paintings. And in the last 2 years, I've been able to create paintings that are nothing less than 20 feet wide, 20 feet high in the last 2 years. And of all this painting, I've used them as metaphor. This piece of a mother and a child is titled Clean Energy, Clear Future. Why? It's a statement, as you know, a statement on health and survival. It's a statement to remind you how delicate it is that the responsibility of the survival of the child is on the mother, is on the parent, and how the responsibility of the future of the generation that comes after us is upon us. So I started having conversation with this. And this piece, that of a Beetle car. Some of you guys might remember the first time you saw a Beetle car. If it's the first time you saw a Beetle car is anything from 2005, raise up your hand. First time you saw a Beetle car, 2011, raise up your hand. First time you saw a Beetle car is all the way back to 2000s. Raise up your hand. Okay. Now, if the first time you saw a Beetle car is the first time a new model was made, raise up your hand. You guys don't see a Beetle car. You don't see Beetle cars every day. Well, this piece was a metaphor to that ideal. You see, we've been burning charcoal even before the first model of a Beetle car was ever made. That is the conversation I used to have. You should use that piece to make. Now, why is clean energy still limited? Why is it as a country, as a generation, we're comfortable or we are less concerned because we move away from these stages of life where we are dependent on things like charcoal to even feed every single day? Why? I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm not trying to blame you. And I'm not saying that we should stop eating soya or we should stop eating smoked fish. That's not what this conversation is about. The conversation is about reduction. And it's for us to stand for something. I made this latest piece, which is the painting of Muhammad Ali, as a reminder for us, for somebody who was willing to lose his titles just to stand for something. We need to stand for something. I started creating this piece, that these things are beyond just waste. I started creating this piece. They are not just beautiful. I needed it to mean something more. And I started looking at is that how can I transform what seems to be destructive into something meaningful? You see, my artworks are decorated walls. I make canvas painting and I make large scale murals. My artwork have been in rooms that I've never even been in. But for me, it's important that this works means something beyond beautiful. My artworks have reached million. In fact, this particular piece reached 5.9 million people on my Instagram. That's a lot of people. But only few people can get that message. And it's not enough. I am just one artist. It has always been important for me that these works mean to the world more than just beautiful. So I started reading up on the SDG goals. Then I found that the SDG 3 says good health and well-being. Then I started using these paintings to start re-emphasizing why it's important for us to start educating people about the use of charcoal and the destruction it does to our health. I realized that the SDG 12 says responsible consumption and production. And I started going to these women that sell the charcoal, and I took the waste they have from their charcoal pack and I get it into and start using it to make these paintings. I started using my artwork to remind people for us to alternate. And SDG 13 says, call for climate action. And I hope by this particular conversation I'm having and by this TED Talk, I'm able to remind you guys that hearts can make something so abstract into something tangible. And I started using my work to have this conversation because it allows you to confront ideas. It allows you to fight and understand the basic of something that seems so vague and it's just big grammars that people throw around. I started using my heart to have this conversation. Now, that begs the question, what must be done? I'm just one artist. But imagine what's possible if we all join forces in our own little ways. If you start to educate, you start to recycle and upcycle, and if you start to educate people about the damage it can cause and start questioning our smoke-filled sky. When was the last time you saw a clear blue sky? Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you saw the clear blue sky and its occasional scattered clouds? It's been a while, I'm sure. Or even the last time you saw it, it doesn't take a minute and then it's out. When you step out from this hall today, I want you to look up and see what you see. How often do you question your smoke-filled skies? I'm just one artist, like I said, but we need systematic change. What can be done? Clean energy access. Nigeria must accelerate efforts to make alternatives like gas, solar, and bioenergy affordable and accessible. Education and awareness. Communities need to understand the health risk of charcoal and the benefit of alternatives. Afforestation. For every tree that is cut down for your smoked fish and your soya, we need a replanting initiative to replace and restore the balance. So, this is the most important part. Government policies must go beyond documentation. I can talk about these issues, but we need, and there have been organizations that have been making effort towards these issues, but we need more conversation around these issues and more reduction and not just paper trails. These have to change. You see, I started working with charcoal because it reminded me that this small piece that we used to have the most delicious meal is a story of survival, is a story of consumption, and is a story of potential. So I started using it to make paintings. And just in case you don't understand how important it is for us to take this off, in order for us to be able to get this off, getting this use of charcoal, tree being cut down, if we demanded better energy solution, supported sustainable practice, and redefined ways as an opportunity, what we'll be doing is giving ourselves a chance at cleaner air and be able to protect our environment. You see, you will be able to improve the air that we're breathing, because sooner or later, you will start expending so much money in the hospital and you wonder why. Because you don't question everything that is burnt in the air. Because we don't question everything that causes our clear sky to be foggy. It's not about the time. It's not because it's 7 a.m. in the morning or 8 p.m. in the evening. It's just simply because we are not taking actions. You see, artists have been taking plastics off the streets, wasted tires off the streets. They've been taking fabrics off the streets and even our canned drinks off the street. They've been converting them into artwork. So, can charcoal save our future? Yes. Less charcoal can save our future. So, let's play a little game again. Can you guys fake cough for me? That's just a gentle reminder for you that the cough that we had as children was not a fake one. And I hope that as we have always been known, Nigeria, we've always been known to be resourceful. Let's extend this resourcefulness to taking care and protecting our health and our future. Thank you for listening.